Example of diagnose for service writing out the service for the diagnose. This is the truck they dropped off, and so they want us to do an inspection. So we're doing an inspection, find out there has check engine light. So normally you start with a click on the new, you find out the company name, and you start a file. They have two trucks down here. You're picking one of the truck is the one that we're going to work on, and they have all the truck information pre-filled because it's a return customer. Going to the order, here's the thing. The first thing, because we started with a vehicle inspection. So in the inspection, oh sorry, my bad. I said the first one here is a PO number because they're going to issue a PO number for us. But for a retail customer, we don't need to use a PO number, so we don't need to worry about it. This is from the button of a note. So if we click on jobs, where's the notes? Did I miss it? Sorry, I was just looking right at it. If you click on the notes, it's going to give you a space you can write down the notes for it. So some other case, I misentered the mileage before and added too many digits. So it become, instead of 100,000 kilometers, become 1,000,000 kilometers. And the software does not allow you to override the kilometers. So the next service, the kilometer has to be bigger than the previous one. So I have to make up some fake kilometers like mileage right here. And then I just enter a note and just saying mileage is 160,000 kilometers or something like that. That's how you use the note. And this one, we start here by clicking on the labor. In the labor button, you're gonna start writing on how do you do it's a vehicle inspection. So we're gonna write down whatever the findings we have in a vehicle inspection. So in this case, we had the vehicle inspection done and said that we had the check engine light on and the brake light is on, and engine oil is very low and dirty. So, and also there's no obvious leak. That means there's a question mark where the oil went. So suspect that the engine's burning oil. And then the next thing is as we find out the center stoplight light bulb is burned out. And there's no other major findings on this one. So we make a recommendation after inspection. They said they recommended the engine oil flush and also diagnose the lights on the dash. And also we noticed the rear tire is a little low, so we also said that need a new rear tire soon. And anyway, maybe I said need a rear tires soon. Sorry, my tongue's a little twist up. Okay, so move on. We can press EXC to close that window. So after you find out that there's things you need to work on. So first, the engine is very low, so we add 4 liters of oil into it, which is by just clicking on the parts. Then we enter the this one I just bring it up from the inventory. So I click on the inventory. On the description, I just enter the engine oil, and then we did a search. So if I go search, it turns out this is the one. Don't care about the color red or black. Red means that we are negative on the inventory, but I just need this part number. So I called out this number, and well, it's because I changed some of the items. I don't want to change anymore. So what did I change is in the system, it used to be saying the cost of the oil was $1.99, but nowadays the oil costs are like $3.50. So I update, put in 5-liter oil, so we updated to $3.50. We put a retail price of $6.50, and we put a margin of it's self-calculate the margin of it. So we don't need to worry about that part. Just entering the cost of it for us and what's the retail price for the engine oil. And move on to the engine diagnose. This button, it came from symptoms. So we were in the symptoms when we went down looking for the where's the check engine light? I probably missed it already. Sorry, it's hard to hold the camera and shooting at the same time. We have 2 of the lines of the check engine light diagnose. One of them has a $sign attached to it, one does not. So I was just, by double clicking this guy, it's going to give me a new one, which is, well, it's going to give me the starting lines, which is all pre-built everything. So I just need to save and done, just save into the system. But I already have it here. So this is how the oops, the diagnosis of the light. So the top part, this line, we don't change it. We just start to writing down what the work performed. We performed by finding code P0171, and what does that mean is the engine running too lean. Then we said also found out the cylinder number 3 is misfiring. Then we suspect that there's something wrong. Either the vacuum leak can cause it, or it could be the misfire causing the light, or something else. So we said it cannot find a large vacuum leak. The small one's very hard to find. And we said found the misfiring moves with the coils. When we swapping the coils, it moves from number 3 to number 1. So we narrowed down to suspecting that was the issue of the coil. Then what did I say here? So large vacuum, cannot find large vacuum leak. Found that the misfiring moves with the coil during the diagnose testing. So suspect it was ignition coil is faulty. Then we replace the ignition coil on cylinder number 3. Then no more misfiring or the engine codes. So that means problem solved. And if you notice, when you bring up this diagnose window, when you're going from the previously we're going to the button of symptoms. Here was symptoms. The default was a 0.8 hours. With the 0.8 hours, it was $96. But I changed it to 2 because we did a lot of work during the diagnose. We're looking for the vacuum leak. We swapped the ignition coils. We scanned the code. There's lots of work being done. So I just called it for 2 hours. And this is the labor rate of 2 hours. This is a predefined by the symptoms of the check engine light. So the rest is all good. Then when you're done writing, you just save and done. Okay, move on to the next item. Because we said that we changed the ignition coil and then nothing, and to solve the problem. So you need to find out the parts. And when we were doing earlier, we already ordered from the Napa. Where did it go? I think this is actually I was just looking back saying where's the submit order, and my submit order, the recent one of them is the ignition coil that we ordered. So in that order, there's 2 items. One's the ignition coil, one is the light bulb, the center stop light. So we copy this part number and description of it, and remember the cost of it. Well, in the normal estimate screen in the Napa, then you can find out what's the retail and what's the cost. I think the retail is $90-something for this guy. So we go back to our service writing. Okay. And ignition coil on this one, as I mentioned, we copy the part number here and description here. We only use the one of it, so quantity 1. Cost is 51, 57. The matrix that we pre-built in the software was recommending $103, but I manually changed something to a little lower price. Actually, I was entering 48% here. So manually enter 48% of margin, it gave me a retail price of $99.17. So this is, I think that's a reasonable price, because anything less than $100 is easier to absorb by the customer, I think. So in here, which parts is the vendor? So we click on the vendor, you scroll down, select the Napa auto parts. Some vendor we do have in the system, some vendor we don't. Napa, we do have it. I don't care about the merchant. I just go into the category. This is related to the performance and tune-up. So that's all good. So we enter this part. And we also entered another line for the light bulbs, because center light bulbs burn out. The same thing, copy over the part numbers and the description. Quantity is 1. Cost was so low, the recommended price by the system is $1.60 with a margin of 70%. But for such a small item, I don't think people mind to pay like $2-3 for it. I improved the margin from 70 to 75%, so it changed to $1.92. Even I charge them $2.50. I don't think it's a big deal of it. So that just does something, that small price item, you can charge a high margin, because how much we made? $1.50. That's peanuts. You can't even get a bottle of drink for that amount of money. There's some labor involved by replacing it. You have to open the cover, put it in. Normally for a easy light change, bulb change, we charge the labor by 0.2. So what did I do? I just go into the labor button, click onto it in the description, and I just said it was the, oh actually I went to the estimate in this one. How you're looking for a bulb change in the estimate? In the estimate, they don't call it a bulb, they call it a lamp. So whenever you're changing a light bulb, you should call it for a lamp change. So let me go LAMP. So I went for a lamp. I go search. On the left, there's a few lines laid out where you have lamps involved. They have headlights, they have gauge lights, and external, internal, trim, whatever. This one's the outside light. So you go external lights. Then external lights have a backup light, a brake light. There's a fog light and assemblies for adjustment, which is you need to align it. And also you have a replacement, R&R, remove, replace, and have a marker lamps. So in this case we have a center stoplight, and if you notice that we click into it, it says there was the just brake light, very generically just calling the brake light. It was saying it should take 0.3 hours to do it. What did I do is I did click on add, and then I click on transfer. That's how I got, now I need escape. Oh, sorry, I didn't go escape. So I just closed this one for now, because just for demonstration. That's how I got this line, which is the screen of estimated. So what did I do is I changed from 0.3 to 0.2, because it's already in the shop. Like 0.2 is like 12 minutes. I think that's reasonable. 0.3 may be a little bit steep. If the customer came in only for changing the bulb, then we can charge 0.3 like what's recommended, or even 0.4, because there's time involved to bring the truck in or bring the vehicle in and look for it and set it up. So it's okay to charge a bit more. But this is involved with the other job together, so I'm going to just reduce a tiny bit to 0.2. So in this whole job, it's total going to be $565. I think a customer should be happy after we did the inspection, find some problems, and then diagnose the light and solve the problem for him. So this is how we do a inspection or diagnose for a light, because you need to talk to the mechanics a lot to find out what's the issue of it and what kind of a work he did to solve the problem. So there'll be quite a bit of a writing, or figure out the words how you're gonna write it. All right.